You awake from your unexpected slumber. At first, things seem as before. You're still at Wynwood Hall, and Melody is still standing beside the bed. Then you realize that Lord Arden is missing, and so are the flower and the loot you need for the ritual. Melody begins speaking in a familiar voice.
Lord Arden's true name? Of course I know it. But it's for me to know and for you to never get. Now, be a good adventurer and die to monsters in the wilderness. I go F wakes up.
She cackles as she teleports away. You see creatures milling around near the gate to Windwood Hall. Then you notice that things seem different. This isn't the Feywild. You are trapped inside a dream. You approach a shadowy form that appears to be Lord Arden reading a note with a worried expression on his face. The figure doesn't notice your presence. The shadowy Lord Arden fades into nothing. Based on his appearance and your uncanny surroundings, you guess that you must be inside the Lord's nightmare. You spot movement underneath the bridge. Moving closer, you see a nasty-looking troll guarding the missing loot. Bits of troll and drops of its blood splash into the river as the battle progresses. The bits grow rapidly into new bridge trolls that join the fight. Inside the magically sealed gazebo, there's the Frosty Reception. 3 bears resting inside. Magically talking bears now. This is the Feywild, after all. You've recovered the frosted cerise for the ritual. You've recovered Hearsome's loot for the ritual. You've recovered both the loot and the frosted cerise. Now, where has Melody hidden Lord Arden? You notice a pillar of magical energy streaming from a distant portal. Perhaps that contains the secret. You approach the portal grove, but a pixie flutters into your path.
She said to make sure you didn't make it to her. I won't let you get your hands up. I won't let him wake up.
The pixie smirks.
He won't get past my friends and me. So long as they are alive, their devotion will sustain me eternally.
A portal opens as the pixie collapses. In his last moments, he says,
You haven't won yet. You still need the true thing.
You exit the portal and find yourself in a strange, empty void. That appears to be Lord Arden's resting place ahead. Between you and Lord Arden stands Cadence the Hag. She must have been disguised as Melody the apothecary the entire time. Cadence prepares for battle.
Thrice damned adventurers never know when to quit. I should have seen that you can't trust a pixie to do a hag's work.
Cadence finishes her conjuration. Slimes emanating a frigid mist suddenly appear nearby.
You killed my sister, so I'll have to make do with these vile cauldron leftovers. I wouldn't go anywhere near them personally now. Be a dear and die for good this time.
Weakened and battered, Cadence tries to surrender.
All right. That's enough. You need what I have. So then, let's make a deal.
You've reluctantly decided to allow Cadence to live in exchange for Lord Arden's true name. You lay out the ingredients for the ritual and repeat the steps to reverse the curse. First, play the lute. Then, grind up the flower's roots. Last, burn the roots along with Lord Arden's true name. You play a brief melody on Hirsam's lute. You mash the flower's roots into a pulp with little effort. You set a small blaze, then drop the crushed roots and Lord Arden's true name into it, completing the ritual. As the smoke rises, Lord Arden's eyes open. He springs out of the bed. Lord Arden thanks you for awakening him from this curse. He urges you to speak with him back at Winwood Hall in the waking world. A motley group of redcaps guards the gate ahead. It's strange that a noble of the summer court would retain those violent, unpredictable creatures as servants. A curious tree stands here by itself. A single, brilliantly red apple hangs from one of its branches. With a quiver of excitement, the tree drops the apple at your feet. The sprawling courtyard seems deserted. A lone tower looms ahead.
What can I
Lord
do for
Xavier
you, Outlander?
will likely be found inside. Lady
My
White
part
Lily
in
has
this story
requested that
is
you find
done.
her a snack. A frivolous
Time to
request, it
rest.
seems. Yet, in the Feywild, small promises really have strange consequences. This storehouse is occupied by a very energetic chest. It gapes at you with a big, toothy grin and speaks.
A word I know. 6 letters
Approach,
it contains.
friends. I am
Remove
Riddle
one letter,
Come,
and
let us
12
talk.
remains. What is it?
A gnome cowers at the back of this smithy, surrounded by menacing redcaps. Your instincts tell you he won't have long to live unless you intervene.
The tower friend asks, none may enter.
As you reach for the door, a swirling torrent of snowflakes envelops you. Yet, you aren't harmed. You don't even feel cold. A peculiar dog guards this door, all by itself, or so it seems. Eladrin guards wearing the garb of the summer court await you in this room. One of them holds up a hand to hail you.
Strangers, I will parley before we come to blows. You may step forward in safety to speak.
You are faced with an unavoidable battle with the Eladrin. You have chosen to stay your blows and spare their lives, even at the risk of your own. More redcaps. These look like they have fresh blood on their weapons. Most of these Eladrin appear to be victims of the Redcaps. Whoever has replaced Greymoss must be desperate now. You have reached the top of the tower, where a regal Eladrin silently awaits your approach. He appears to be alone.
Yes, you fool, I'm still here. But your precious Greymoss is dead, trusting idiot. Who told you the Prince of Frost wanted you dead, Me? Who said these Outlander dolts were his tools? Yeah, me. But it was you who was supposed to die willingly on their blades, as a distraction while I do Hearsome's bidding. But no, guess I just have to tell you all myself now.
The hag opens again. You have to watch closely to see which one is the real.
Oh, you got blood on my favorite robe. My only robe. Still.
The hag dies, screeching to the last. After a moment, the Viscount rises to his feet and blurts.
Who was that? What's going on? I demand an explanation!
The party here is in full swing, and Cascading Springs Cottage is clearly the worse for wear for it. A harried housemaid waits on the raucous satyrs. A satyr calls to you as you enter the courtyard.
Hello there. Welcome to our revels. There's food in the kitchen and drink, well, everywhere, including the floor, I see. Make yourself at home, and don't forget to pour one out for our dear host, to Lord Arden. May his slumbers be good.
The lush collection of potted plants suggests that this room is the conservatory. A note next to the second seed. Slightly. Keep away from sunlight and insects. Drop a few of the magic seeds on the ground. Huge weeds burst from the earth, and the thirsty plants quickly drain the moisture from the surrounding soil. labeled Spring House. It seems someone was trying to hide it.
What kind of hoard hides within this little chest?
It's surprising to find a large, well-stocked library in a house given over to an endless party. It's even more surprising to find a sphinx. Water gushes up from the ground in one corner of the room, forming a large pool. This must be the cascading spring the house is named after. This large barrel is marked Flashboom Powder in large letters. In even larger letters below are the words, "Keep away from open flame." Towering weeds spring up the instant you cast the magic seeds on the ground. The twisting brambles suck up every drop of water nearby, leaving cascading springs dry as a bone. The careless satyr swings his torch too close to the powder keg, which explodes in a shower of sparks. The partygoers turn to the at the spectacle. It's a simple task to remove the sign. The satyrs are soon distracted by the use of the fireworks. You deftly replace the popular sign from the library. Seething with anger, the master of the rebels reluctantly agrees to leave.
A deal's a deal, it's true. We'll leave. But nothing in the deal says we can't rip you to shreds on our way out.
The revels have finally ended, and not in the way the satyrs expected.
You enter the grove the villager told you about and spot a small encampment.
Well met, travelers!
A hearty voice calls as you approach.
Are you here to help us slay the great beast? There it sits, menacingly.
The knight whispers to you.
Talk to me about a plan. I'm glad you believe me.
She tells you.
More than you'll ever know. Now, bring your courage to the fore.
You find your confidence well placed. Spindly legs rise from the dirt, and the windmill lurches forward. Creatures spring up around you, rushing to defend the windmill. The windmill seems undaunted by your weapons and spells. The strange gemstone seems to be protecting this creature from spells and weapons. A creature sporting an unusual gemstone seems to be avoiding you. The gemstone cracks, and the windmill shines. sporting an unusual gemstone seems to be avoiding you. Another gemstone cracks, and the windmill shakes violently. Sporting an unusual gemstone seems to be avoiding you. A gemstone cracks once more. The windmill rumbles deeply, then falls still. The magic that brought it to life seems to have left it.
Thank you.
The old knight says.
Your trust in me brought us victory this day. You've earned a reward.
She continues.
But speak with me if you'd like to help a little further. Somehow, I fear the culprit is still nearby.
A vast tree reaches upward to the sky. Yet some form of corruption has gripped its roots, slowly twisting and transforming this ancient sentinel of the forest. These root tunnels are full of life, yet something seems off. A sense of unease hangs in the air. Time to find the source of the corruption you've been asked to stop. An ugly red magic barrier blocks the way down to the tree's heart. A strange red light fills these root tunnels, draining away the life in them. The barrier flickers out as the first orb is destroyed. As the second orb shatters, that sense of unease felt fades. The barrier collapses to the floor. Lifting the sense of dread from this world. A second barrier blocks the path down. Expect there are more orbs powering it. Blights pull themselves through the root walls and attack. The root tunnel ahead was nearly dead. It had begun to rot away. As the last orb in the northwest tunnel shatters. Your sense of dread and loss mounts to explore. Orb in the northern root tunnels destroyed, crackling sounds can be heard from the barrier. With the orbs gone, the second barrier collapses in on itself with an audible crackle. Corrupting magic pours down the corridor in powerful waves, draining life from the tree. The Fomorian bellows. Stop them, voice pack! The Godia's tree ritual must not be interrupted. With a single magic word, the Fomorian snaps the barrier back into place. However, the base of the barrier weird holes of brightness snarl. You're not powerful enough to stop me from turning this crumples to the ground, gasping. I was so close. So close. The Fomorian is dead, and the ritual ended. All that's left is to tell the pixies it's safe to return to the blessed tree. A deep voice booms through the cavern. Turn back, stranger. Weak reeds are not welcome in my workshop. Any who linger will be put to the test. A dryad leaps from the tree. Sensing your surprise, she motions for you to speak with her. The dryad calls for the test to begin, and creatures instantly spring to the attack. Joins the fray herself. Dryad calls for a halt to the battle. You neither bend nor break. Good. The Thornwright is willing to see you. You may enter. She makes a gesture, and a door opens. A gnarled woodwode carefully picks through a pile of brambles, plucking out the largest and sharpest thorns. Surely this is the Thornwright. The Thornwright explains that he crafted a magic needle for Hirsum. A needle that now contains Hirsum's immortality. The Prince of Satyrs then took that needle to some place called the Treasure Grove. water pours down from the falls overhead, enveloping the entire area in a cool, invigorating mist.
You make your way deep into the Kelpie's underwater grotto, protected by the Eladrin's magics. Now where is the lost keepsake you were sent to find? You hear the murmur of confused voices coming from up ahead. A magical light fills this chamber and glints off of something mounted to the back wall. The first lever is pulled, and a deep rumble travels through the water. A strange noise, distorted by the water, comes from further down the corridor. It sounds like growling. The light filtering through this shallow pool illuminates a lever set into the far wall. There's an audible pop as the second lever is pulled and the barrier in the main hall dissipates.
Come for the bauble, have you? You're not the first.
Booms an exceptionally large and powerful Kelpie as it charges.
Every time we take it, the Advent sent someone to fetch it back. It's an endless supply of fresh fare for us.
The Eladrin's lost keepsake perched atop a nearby chest.
Somewhere in these woods, there is treasure that grows on trees. One specific tree deserves more attention than others, for it bears the chest containing Hirsam's magic needle. Have a good feeling about this chest. Perhaps it is the one you seek. As you open the chest, a unicorn leaps out. How did it even fit inside? As you defeat the unicorn, a deer bursts out from it. Is that normal? The deer falls. Something stirs inside. And then a blink dog appears. This needle better be worth the chase. The blink dog falls, but something flits out of it. The raven is slain. As it falls to earth, an egg rolls out. Thankfully, the egg doesn't move. Yet. Among the shell fragments, you see the glint of something that looks like a small winged shadow sweeps down from the sky and plucks the needle out. Just as you reach for it, with a victorious yoink, the tiny dragon-like creature darts away with its prize. The little dragon disappeared through this portal, taking your prize with it. As you pursue the creature into the cave, you hear its excited voice up ahead.
Aha! Adventurers in my way! I'm a real dragon.
The little dragon announces,
We're gonna play hide and tag. So first, you close your eyes. No peeking. And count to 10. And then find me and tag me. And then you run. Ha!
The little dragon cries out.
You found me! Ha ha! Tag! I'm in! Run!
The little dragon jumps up and down with Hirsum's precious needling hair. You prepare to offer him a bargain he can't refuse. You arrive at Hirsum's stronghold after a long, long climb up the ice staircase. The Prince of Satyrs is near the entrance, playing a melody, while his servant Hermia flits nearby. Hirsum looks up, not at all surprised to see him.
Ah, here at last. I trust you didn't get frostbite. Welcome to Duskfall Overlook, a prime example of my vision for the Feywild future, as well as its past. See how the birds and the deer, the trees and the vines have reclaimed the ruins of this Eladrin palace. Here we say goodbye to the useless conceits of the Eladrin courts, to the whole we have on our book. You seem impatient to start your plans with me. Worry not, it will begin soon, but first, I hope to teach you about what I want to achieve. Once you complete the lessons I have designed, we will speak again. Well, until then.
Hirsum bows and disappears. Dust motes drift through the air, while cobwebs choke the corners of this corridor. Hirsum's voice floats in the air, coming from everywhere and nowhere at all.
I have provided you with a feast for the senses. Once you and your fellows are ready, step up onto the table. But be aware, you'll be shut in until you've learned your lesson. Or you
You're surprised to discover that one has been hidden within the song. Hear a loud trumpet, which strangely reminds you of a yell. The slams open. You collected a watchword and killed the hungry Fomorian. Now you are free to leave the Hall of Objects with a new understanding of Hirsum's ideals. A curious door glimmers into view. Even curiouser, it vanishes mere seconds after it appeared. You decide to keep your eye out for it as you complete Hirsum's lessons. A satyr and a small band of musicians stand in the crumbling amphitheater. The satyr flashes a massive green spot. As you step into the amphitheater, the portcullis slams shut. Hirsum's voice drifts into your ears. Far off strains of music.
Now it's time for you to learn of my music. See this band of revelers before you? Best them, then you will be given the gift of my song. Use it wisely.
Playing the fiddle has revealed another section of this wing. Hirsum's voice booms from the
Oh, you've mastered the Feyish fiddle's magic. Good. If you dream of finding the watchword or a way out of here, Again, curious door appears before us. Then it begins to flicker and fade.
If only I could still dream. Oh, to feel my wings again, beating like thunder through the summer sky.
Gargoyle perches on a high ledge inside this room. He stretches out his crumbling arms. Gargoyle flinches at your shoulder. A chunk of stone chips off his body. Tourmaline shudders as even more of his stone body chips off. One more strong blast should do the job. The gargoyle flinches, giving you the time to send a musical blast. The red signal crystal on the wall lights up when you pull this lever. A solitary gargoyle statue rests in this chamber. Now that you have collected both watchwords, you can unlock the door to the roof. The root barrier disappears. Behind it, you notice a strange ring of mushrooms that has sprung up in the soil. This door matches the one you used to enter this labyrinth. You found the exit. Now that you have the watchword, you're free to leave. This door has been sealed with a magic incantation. Only the 2 watchwords can unlock it, which Hearsome has hidden in his stronghold. You step out onto the roof of Duskfall Overlook. The arena Congratulations are in order, Fearsome says. You made it this far, but I have just one tiny lesson. All you see before you is an illusion. Mementos of what the Feywild is now. And what I so wish to destroy.
2 familiar figures shimmer into view. Illusory versions of Lord Arden and the Prince of Frost.
These 2 forms are allies and my way. Strike down these so-called friends of yours.
Springs into motion. The illusory Lord Arden falls to the ground. The next change turns to face you. Vision. Fearsome crimson.
of ice and snow. The gleaming walls of the room dim, then fade away. Hear some whistles and applause as he appears.
Bravo! I hadn't imagined you'd be so ruthless. I wonder how your little lord in that bitter archfey would feel, knowing how easily you betrayed them.
He shrugs.
The lesson is now complete. You have earned your audience at last.
Before you can leave, a cold, commanding voice peals out.
What have you done? We had a deal, Haysom.
Within the distance of just a few short steps, the temperature plummets and snow covers the ground. Whatever caused this sudden change in the climate surely wasn't natural. Ahead lies Bitterspine Palace, home to the Baron and Baroness Bitterspine, and one of the many holdings of the Prince of Frost.
You have arrived at Bitterspine Palace, home of one of the Prince of Frost's vassals. You proceed with caution. Whether you're expected by the Baroness or not, the Prince of Frost's cold reputation is known throughout the Feywild. The Prince of Frost stands before a throne overlooking the crowded ballroom, the Baroness beside him. However, the third throne on the dais stands empty. The air chills as the Archfey points a finger toward you.
Why have you disturbed me with your presence, Outlander?
If I may, my prince, says the Baroness, a connection in the summer court sent word of the Outlander's arrival. I have granted them an audience. I assure you, they will not disturb you. We're told that Osha loathes extravagant parties such as this one. He's likely to be avoiding the crowd somewhere, perhaps out on the windward balcony. The head waiter explains that Osha told him not to allow anyone into the treasure vault. However, you're able to persuade the goblin to unlock the door for you. Water elementals flood out of the treasure vault to confront the intruders. You hear a bell chime in the ballroom as you pull this lever. You hear a bell chime in the ballroom as you pull this lever. This door leads out to the windward balcony. From the dim gems on either side, you can see that it has been sealed to prevent guests from following Osha outside. The court advisor stares off into the distance. The sound of your footsteps, he jolts, turns around, and lets out a dejected sigh. Osha scoffs at you and refuses to hand over the Aurora Garden key. Just as you open your mouth to reply, he attacks. Osha collapses to the floor. You grab the Aurora Garden key as he fades away. He'll wake up a little dazed on the plane of air, without any hard feelings, you hope. You step out into the snowy garden. A peculiar patch of grass grows in its center, along with a flower that emanates a magical, chilly aura. The flower crumples away into nothing in the palm of your hand, and instantly regrows in the soil. The newly sprouted flower glows blindingly for a moment, and, unexpectedly, a shockwave rocks the palace. You notice a bizarre painting depicting the Wintertide Ballroom. To your surprise, you're able to step through it and into the ballroom itself. To your surprise, the ballroom is now covered in twisting vines and familiar flowers.
I think I am ready to now they're everywhere.
Snarls the Prince of Frost.
Outlander, you will fix this. I'll turn you into a block of ice.
Lady Lazuli informs you that there were only 2 Eladrin nobles she didn't recognize in attendance tonight. She knows who can tell you more. Sir Snowdrift, the resident social butterfly of the Prince of Frost's court. Sir Snowdrift tells you that Lord Beryl was last seen slinking off to the kitchen in search of a fresh bottle of wine. Then he shoos you out of his crowd of adoring nobles. Lord Beryl says that Dame Allegra has gone to explore the Prince of Frost's quarters. Speaking with her is the next step in solving this plant puzzle. A growth of blossoming vines is springing up around you. When you get close, a group of palace guards stand at attention in front of the Prince of Frost's quarters. You'll have to defeat them in order to enter. An Eladrin noble stands at the base of the stairs that lead to the Prince of Frost's quarters. This must be Dame Allegra, the mysterious newcomer you're looking for. Dame Allegra saw a hooded stranger plant the frosted cerise in the garden. She bids you to follow her there, so she can help you search for clues about the culprit. Dame Allegra stands in the center of the garden. She lets out a low chuckle.
How did you like my little prank? It was good fun. Riling up that gloomy prince always entertains my master here some.
Allegra transforms before you. Recognize her new form. This Kate, the night hag, caused such trouble for the crumbles into ash. Yet it leaves behind one last frosted cerise flower. You pluck the frosted cerise flower from the snow. This time, the bloom stays in the palm of your hand, instead of crumpling away into nothing. Return to the Baroness to tell her what happened. Though the prince himself would never admit to it, the Baroness tells you he is in your debt for thwarting the Night Hag's scheme. And now that you have the frosted cerise, you're one step closer to waking Lord Arden.
Ahead lies Bitterspine Palace, home to the Baron and Baroness Bitterspine.
The Prince of Frost glowers down at you.
Yes? Why have you come here? Out with it!
The Prince of Frost chuckles, but his eyes remain cold and hard as they bore down at you.
You come asking for favors when you impose on me by your very presence? Not many would dare to overstep so cleverly. But as I feel numb with tedium, I will allow it. You will perform the 3 tasks I have set for you. Only then will I consider your request.
The Prince of Frost waves his hand, and a trio of portals open nearby.
Go, and be quick about it. Each second you stand here is a second of my patience being siphoned away.
You find yourself inside the base held by the rebel bandits. The Prince of Frost wants you to retrieve a wine chalice that they stole. The bandits said something about needing to get the patrolling sentries to wake everyone up. It may be possible to sneak past the sentries and through the sleeping bandits without needing to fight. Paging through this well-worn journal, you learn that the Bandit Captain has a private stash of treasure hidden somewhere in the caverns. It would certainly be a shame if it were to be left behind. This is the missing wine chalice that the Prince of Frost requested. An injured guard calls out to you.
You there! You have the look of an adventurer. The villagers have been captured and dragged off by those brutish Fomorians. I'm not shaped to do anything about it. Rescue me, please. I beg of you.
You overhear an argument between the Fomorians. Perhaps there's some way to take advantage of this strife? Lurtz considers your words, then gives a single nod. He begins heading towards where he last knew his brother to be.
To keep all the captives for myself, I might as well add more to my haul. Then
The Fomorians have been defeated, and the village is now safe. You've arrived at Rhyme's Refrain, one of the Prince of Frost's favorite venues. He demands that you remove the griffins that seem to have made their home inside the amphitheater. A number of griffins are perched throughout the amphitheater. They look at you apprehensively, but make no move to attack. Can now return to regular use. That takes care of one favor for the Prince of Frost. Now that you've done these 3 favors for the Prince of Frost, perhaps he'll return 1. To once again even the scales, the Prince of Frost agrees to lend you his powers in reaching Hirsam's fortress. You can now proceed with the final part of your plan, trading Hirsam's needle for the Codex pages.
Ahead lies Bitterspine Palace, home to the Baron and Baroness Bitterspine, in one of the many holdings of the Prince of Frost.
Snow drifts into the open gateway of the abandoned lodge. You spot Hirsam, the Prince of Satyrs, through the gate.
We meet again, Bear. I see you're still here, carrying out your duties.
You know that I am bound to this place, Prince. It was your command.
You don't seem very enthusiastic about it. As it happens, I'm about to have a very important meeting here, and I don't wish to be disturbed. I'll need some guards. Reliable guards, not a grumpy old flea bag like yourself. Let's see. Yes, that should do it. Don't bother to get up, Bear.
I wouldn't want to interrupt your busy schedule.
The bear looks up at you. He's known you were there all along.
You might as well come in.
He grumbles as he opens the gate. The bear agrees to help you find the Baron, but first you must bring him 3 items. The gnome baker tells you that he doesn't have any owlbear butter. A gingerbread golem that he created has run out with his entire supply, along with a collection of collectible custard-filled cakes.
Sugar and butter and flour too. Make a cake to make someone new. With the same magic that turned bread into me. I'm going to make a whole friend army.
Gingerbread golem is a huge pile of crumbs. Amid his remains, you find a large pot of owlbear butter. The portal flickers to life, and a dark figure steps through.
There you are, Archfey. I have come as you requested.
Naturally. No, it took some doing. The mortals gave my hands a bit of trouble, but once I was concealed by the enchantment, I was able to make a good fight and leave those druids none the wiser.
You open the door and step into the massive sky oak, only to find yourself plummeting down.
Let us be done with this.
Oh, let's not forget about that. There are 2 sides to this deal. And how can I be sure that you'll deliver what you've promised?
Of sky oak sap seeps out of the massive tree. You pick up the sticky sap. What could the bear possibly want with this? With the branch out of the way, a strong current of air blows up from deep inside the tree.
Much. You wish to transform the entire Feywild.
Oh, I wish to restore the Feywild. Return it to what it was before the Eladrin littered courts and palaces. This was once a place of unfettered freedom, touched only by the pure hand of nature.
Nature. Yes, you needn't worry about that. I have found a place that civilization has never touched. A place where nature is unbounded. All you need to do is open the door and nature will flow forth like a flood.
A massive figure looms in the murk ahead. You found one of the four mortals, twisted giants who live in the caverns beneath the You strip the gloves off of the dead Formorian, and they immediately shrink down to your size. They're magic, of course. You don the giant's gloves, reach inside the bear's mouth, and pull out an elaborate, a black unicorn bursts into the room, and a voice sounds. I have time for one. I'm the master of man. Says he knows a secret that could defeat Hearsound. You should deliver the news to Winwood Hall. You can use that information to plan your next move.
come for the hag? Asks the master of the hunt. The hunters report she looked. Don't let her. Pray use one of the portals. Use these banners to summon my huntsman. The hag will try to avoid the huntsman. That doesn't mean, though, they're invincible. Where will the sport be in that? Muses the master of the hunt. Each of my huntsmen are bound to the hunt. But when you remove their banner, you free them of their service. What they do with their freedom is your problem. The master of the hunt. To gather more lost banners. Then use them to corral the hag towards me.
Hang down to another me! Not you! Not the wild hunt! Oh, where did I put it? Where did it go?
Beatrice mutters, rubbing her hands.
Oh, here's some will turn us into worms! You don't will never catch me! Not you! And not the wild hunt! My heels! Me.
Beatrice cackles as she vanishes through the portal. Yet the hag won't have gone far. She still hasn't found what she's looking for.
Where did it go? I had it a minute ago!
The master of the hunt calls you in the distance. It seems you didn't need my help after all. Impressive! Come see me for your proper reward. The air nearby tingles with magic. It seems to be coming from up above. If you got to higher ground, you could look for the source of this disturbance.